The escalating tensions between Russia and the United States. You were looking live at the Kremlin. That's the center of the Russian government, where officials are talking retaliation this morning.
Yeah, this comes after President Obama announced new sanctions against Russia, payback for the alleged hacking of our presidential election. ABC's Mary Bruce is at the White House with the latest on this story. Mary, good morning to you.
Good morning. That's right. An eye for an eye. Russia is promising to fight back, set to expel dozens of American diplomats after the U.S. did the same. President Obama has given 35 Russian diplomats until noon on Sunday to leave the country and hit Moscow with tough sanctions. The president saying every American should be alarmed by Russia's cyber attacks and harassment of U.S. officials.
It's an unprecedented strike. The White House punishing Russia in part for interfering in the U.S. election. President Obama taking executive action, expelling 35 Russian diplomats, giving them and their families just 72 hours to get out, and shutting down 2 Russian compounds. A 45-acre estate on the Maryland shore bought by the Russians in 1973, and this Long Island mansion, a beachfront manor once owned by an oil executive, bought by the Russians in the 50s. In Moscow, 2 leading intelligence agencies slapped with sanctions, 4 top officials too, including the head of military intelligence. The U.S. also targeting 2 notorious cyber criminals wanted by the FBI, one accused of stealing $100 million. Not on the list, the Russian president, even though President Obama has strongly suggested Putin was aware of the attacks.
Not much happens in Russia without Vladimir Putin.
And there's also retaliation we don't know about. No details on any covert cyber attacks, but the president promising the actions announced are not the sum total of our response. Russia is blasting the measures, a Kremlin spokesman calling them unpredictable and aggressive. And they're accusing the White House of trying to undercut the incoming Trump administration. The president-elect suggests the crackdown is misguided, saying in a statement that while he'll meet with intelligence leaders next week, it's time for our country to move on to bigger and better things. Trump has repeatedly questioned whether Russia was behind the hacking.
They have no idea if it's Russia or China or somebody. It could be somebody sitting in a bed someplace.
But the White House says there is no question Russia interfered. The administration releasing new declassified details explaining how Russian groups hacked the Democratic Party, at times tricking officials into handing over their credentials by mimicking their employers' email systems.
Now, in just 3 weeks, President Trump could undo these measures, but that could be politically difficult. Lawmakers on both sides of the aisle support these tough actions. Now, as for those countermeasures, Russia promises they're coming later today, measures that they say will make U.S. officials feel uncomfortable. Dan and Paula?
Yeah, those sanctions appear to be the one thing that Republicans and Democrats are agreeing on right now. Mary, thank you.